right, we are alive. We are good to go. All
Yep.
right. Hello, everyone. This is Winham. We are here to talk Destiny 2. I've got Hex with me again. Say hi, Hex. How you doing?
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
So, funny story. 2 days ago, we did this entire talk already. I did it live, and for some reason, the audio wasn't coming through for Hex in my computer. You could hear me talking, but that was it. So I went back, I fixed it. We're gonna do it again. Might be a little bit briefer, but that's if you saw the stream before, that's what's just happening. And if you didn't, then this will be all new to you. So, um, yeah. So there's actually been more information released since we talked a couple days
Yeah,
ago. No, the TWID came out.
yeah.
I haven't actually read it yet. Like I saw the dev stream. I haven't read the TWID.
I read the twid. It's kind of more. Basically the live stream, but in a text format. It's a bit. They actually they actually explain it a bit more. They go more in depth into certain things that we're going to talk about soon.
Okay. Okay. That's good stuff. All right. So that means we shouldn't be too caught off guard by anything. So, um,
Yeah,
So, like I did last time, I'm going to do a brief overview where Destiny 2's been the last couple years because I haven't really done a Destiny video in a while. So I'm eating some fruit snacks. I'm still hungry.
mm,
Oh yeah, and just like last time, I'm also stoned off my ass. Now, again, it is completely legal where I live at, so uh, no one's offering anything. It is completely legal here, so I've been enjoying that. All right, this is a bad start. All right, last time I got the munchies near the end where you were talking, and I
yeah.
gave time to eat. This time I got them at the beginning. I didn't time this very well. All right. Oh, I got one left. And I
All
just
right.
go.
Let's go over. All right, so a brief overview
I'm good. I'm
of
good. I'm good.
everything that we've since your last Destiny 2
Yes.
video.
Yeah, so my last videos were build videos, but as far as news and stuff, haven't really done it in a while. So, what's gone on in the last couple of years with Destiny 2 is that the Destiny fan base is pretty much tired of Bungie. A lot's gone on. We've had ups and downs. The big things were, and I'm not going to delve too far into it like I did last time, but Bungie's had a lot of layoffs and they've been putting out a lot of underwhelming content. People were tired of a lot of stuff they're doing, the seasonal model, the predictable quests, the just bad expansions in general, like Lightfall. And that directly caused the final shape to sell poorly too. I mean, all these things um, along with Bungie just not listening to its player base for the last 2 years. Actually, longer than that. We're at an all-time low in Destiny 2 player count, and people make videos, clickbait videos, every single season, every single expansion. They're always like, at a certain time, you see them all come out. Destiny 2 player base all-time low. What's going to come out? Well, games go
Um,
through cycles. Excuse me.
I mean that it's basically the Destiny content cycle is so predictable. It's basically a meme at this point.
Mm-hmm.
The quote unquote the more infamous meme. Uh, Destiny 2, make it or break it.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
and
make or break time. It's make or break time.
yep, and a lot
Uh,
of stuff in the game is breaking too, which has been not just the content, but the game itself physically is just not working half the time because it's full of bugs. Instead, what we did, it was 320. They ended up laying off, and you said last time, I think you said it was like the other 380 went to. You said they went to PlayStation
us
or Sony.
at least 100 employees. Technically, they are still part of uh of Bungie, for example, but they are not necessarily working on anything Bungie specific. They're like maybe a support. They're like a support staff for whatever for insert live servers that they're going to cancel in a couple of months right now. In a couple of months,
Yeah,
Sony live servers that they're gonna cancel. Like apparently there was a God of War live service in the
I
in the
don't I
works.
don't know how you. Oh, I mean, they turned Assassin's Creed into a live service, so I'm not really surprised. But yeah, community is just tired of Bungie just ignoring the player base. We of course found out it was the execs making those decisions. The devs wanted to make these changes. The execs pretty much said no and do whatever gets the most money. All the cool stuff's coming out of microtransactions. Bad story, buggy game. So we come up to Heresy, which is going to be the final episode, or the next season, depending how you look at it. And one of the big things we talked about last time, what they went over in the dev stream, they were going over some of the features or some of the basically what the season's going to be about. And so I'm gonna go ahead and let you take it from there. Tell us again what the season's going to be about. What are the core things about it? Give us a rundown.
All right, brief overview of the of episode Heresy. One of the many echoes from the corpse of the witness. One of them flew to the dreadnought. At some point during the whole fighting of that situation, a subjugator, and that we don't know the name of, managed to acquire this echo, and now this subjugator is now partially taken. And to quote a failed sequel trilogy that we'll be discussing in the soon. Suddenly, Oryx is back, and that's the narrative overview that we know of so far.
Yep.
The characters that we're going to be interacting with is going to be Eris Morn again, Drifter again, and newcomer to the situation, Sloane, back from the Season of the Deep.
Yep.
And this time she'll be the one who's going to be taking the lead in the group because she'll be using her newfound taken abilities, and she's going to be using that newfound knowledge to help us manipulate taken energy with the light, and that's how we're going to be interacting with episode Heresy.
Yep.
Is basically, and after reading some of the stuff from the TWID and some of the artifacts, some of the artifact mods, some of this taken stuff is kind of pretty strong.
Well, and keep in mind, there's taken abilities we're going to be getting, and keep in mind slow being partaken because we're going to talk about something involving that later on. But any other things? What are the weapons looking like?
So far, they've only announced 4 of the seasonal weapons, but they have mentioned that there's more than these initial 4. There is a new support auto rifle, aka the healing auto rifle, but in this case it's going to be a strand one, where once I think it's called adamantite, where if you heal up your teammates, as they also start generating these strand projectiles coming out of the person who you just healed. They will start targeting enemies. We don't know the damage of those strand projectiles, but turning your buddy who was down on low HP into a walking strand bomb seems pretty cool.
That sounds
They
like it'd
also
be interesting in Grandmasters.
yeah. They also mentioned a arc area denial grenade launcher that has a new perk that's gonna talk that's gonna tie into the new arc aspect, new arc, uh, uh,
What was it again?
just
Arc
thinking
charge.
buff. Yeah, yeah, bolt charge.
Bolt charge. Bolt
The new
charge.
yeah the new arc verb, or what they call it verb. It's basically another buff to arc called bolt charge. We will discuss that once we get to that point. It does seem that like there is a linear fusion rifle here and a sword. We don't know what the elements are on these, or what they are, but that's what they have here so far. All of the weapons from episode Heresy, the ones that you will get from the activities,
Mm-hmm.
these will be they'll drop the normal version, and if you do like secret activities or or you solve a secret puzzle of sorts, you will be able to acquire a adept version of these weapons.
Okay.
These ones are this is going to be the equivalent of the Into the Light shinies.
Okay.
So they'll have more perks on their perk pool and in the rows, and they will have an additional origin trait that you can select. In this case, since it's all about Dreadnought stuff, it's going to have the King's Fall origin trait on it. I think
That's
it's
right.
like
Like a coon or
where
something, or
yeah, something about reloading your weapon next to allies
yeah,
will allow you to
overload the
overflow
magazine.
the mag.
Yeah.
That-
Okay. Now, I remember we talked about that stuff, and then we talked about kind of how the community's been upset with them recycling content, but not necessarily like they recycle content, but not the content that's asked for. Like we've been asking for Rats on the Machine for a while. We've been asking for the Red War and all the content that was taken from us back for a while. They're recycling all this new stuff when we really just want we'd be happy with all the old stuff back for a little bit, but the decisions that they're making aren't making any sense. They're putting out bad content, putting out glitchy content, and we talked about how I felt like Heresy was just, how you just got to kind of like as Bungie's panic button. Like if they're in trouble, pull out the hive. And we talked about how that's what this
yeah,
feels like a bit because this is easily going to be the most anticipated episode. But considering how the
it
rest of the year's gone, I mean, people's um their attitudes towards Destiny right now at an all-time low. So the only thing that'll keep them going is putting the most anticipated season at the end of the year. So we talked about that, and you mentioned how it was the easy button. So let's talk about that a bit.
yeah, sure. I've noticed over the years that Bungie seems to either have a difficulty with writing more interesting stories about the greater Destiny universe that don't involve the Hive, the Taken, and don't involve the Hive and the Taken. If Eris is not involved in the story generally is going to do poorly, either with community sentiment or from a critical standpoint. It's not that good.
Hmm.
And to me, after seeing it throughout the years, I've noticed that usually community sentiment goes straight up, like several octaves than usual, whenever there's something Hive related.
Yep. And I
And
admitted
that
that
to
I am one of those people too. I will openly admit it. If you tell me some hive related, then I'm right there.
I mean, even though they didn't really mention it in the live stream, that Bungie has been mentioning it in previous twids and blog posts leading up to Heresy, is that the Hive siblings will be involved in some way or some form or fashion here. Besides Oryx is back in some form. I don't think it's Oryx proper. It's going to be probably one of his many shades that we somehow missed one.
Yeah. Well, then we talked
And
about
that's
too
the
whether or not this was really Oryx or not, or whether he was technically still in the touch of Malice or not. So whether this would even truly be Oryx.
no. That's what I mean. Like, yes, Oryx is stuck inside the touch of malice, the physical form of him, but his shades, the little shadow clones that he made during the Taken War,
Yeah.
like you do it. There was like several like post campaign story quests or exotic missions that you have to do. And basically all of them culminated in a fight against the Shade of Oryx. So makes sense that in that the Oryx is back that Bungie mentioned. It's just probably we just woke up a dormant shade that he left on the Dreadnought,
It could be.
and the Echo just woke it up.
Yeah. Or maybe even enhance it some. Um.
Probably gave it just enough sentience to recognize that it is alive,
Yeah.
and will probably speak not necessarily speak on behalf of Oryx, but it would probably behave more like the nightmares during Season of the Haunted.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's what I believe is going to happen.
Well, and then along with that too, speaking of easy mode and hard mode, I kind of discussed how it's kind of weird how they'll give us the that's cool looking machine gun. How they'll give us the high storyline, but um a lot of the other features we want, they're not going to give us. Like I talked about how Sloan is literally half taken right now. We've only got 2 darkness subclasses. It only makes sense to have a third, and there are 2 subclasses that people have been asking for years, and that is one, the Taken subclass, which would very easily give us, our third darkness subclass, and then you mentioned before the other one that's requested a lot is the Siva subclass, to act as a kinetic subclass, which would be
Yeah.
that'd be perfect. It would round everything out. And Bungie's basically been told this by their community forever. I mean, every time a new subclass comes out, it always does well. So they're telling you, hey, we want new subclasses. Here's how to even make them. They've got so much help that they could, rely on in the community, and they don't go for it.
There's probably years worth of videos on YouTube right now that you could probably, from big YouTubers to the YouTuber that only has 10 subs. There's probably somebody out there that has a YouTube video on here's how to make a Siva subclass, a Taken
Yep.
subclass, and I think the newest one that's community requested is probably going to be oh yeah, and a poison subclass as well.
Yeah.
I think the new one would be I think that's the one that's most logical to happen. It would be a resonance subclass, the energy that Rolk uses, that the
Witness
Witnessed
use.
use. Yeah, Bungie even made a shader for it that gives you like the resonant, like the same type of energies that resonance would do to what we affectionately call the yellow bees. That what was that boss from
Caretaker.
Rogue? Yeah, caretaker. That caretaker would summon these things, and that would be like, oh yeah, that's imagine that, but as a subclass,
Yeah.
and that makes sense.
So we got all these ideas. We got ideas for weapons. We got ideas. I mean, again, even just bringing back the content that they sunset already, the bringing back the Red War and everything leading up to what they took. I mean, that right there would give new players an easy spot to come in and actually understand what's going on, because the new player experience has been a huge, huge issue. We can't keep new players even when we get them, and the ones that
Yeah,
leave rarely ever come back. So giving them a
yeah.
reason to
This
stick around, which would, be putting the Red War in and showing them what happened and, kind of who we are, like giving them the backstory versus jumping in the middle. Nobody wants to do that.
Yeah,
It's already weird enough to try to figure out what to do in Destiny half the time, so.
understanding what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
The okay, so the reason why they probably won't do it is because they probably need to re they need to recontextualize some of those missions, because most of the Red War campaign was mission, do an adventure here and there, and
Yeah.
then back to doing missions. And most of the planets are still, despite the fact that an in-game universe, in universe, they're back. Like Titan's back, Mars is back, uh, Titan is back. They're all back, technically speaking. There's even dungeons and
Yeah.
activities that we can do in those places, but from as a patrol space, those are not there.
Well,
So
it could be just like how you download map packs in like Call of Duty or Halo back in the day. You download whatever stories you want, and then as you go through those stories, your map changes. So whatever story you've got selected, so you've got Red War selected, or your map will just always look like what was available in the Red War, and that's all you can do. Or let's say you're at the end, it'll look like ours does now. So they could easily do that part. They just program in what they did for us. When those events happened, we saw the map change, and then that was our map, and then that's how they would play. But I do agree that a lot of the stuff that we did before, it would be hard to do. I mean, if they gave us those patrol spaces back, they could do it. But if you're
Yeah,
not working on that campaign, you can't help out at a lot of those. Like some of them, you had to go out and do like public events. It's going to be hard
yeah,
to get help in that.
exactly. Yeah. Some so the way that I see it is that they would have to uh, reconfigure how the narrative works. Hell, I'll give you an example. Forsaken. For as good as Forsaken was, the beginning of Forsaken is literally just a couple of missions. You saw Cade die. Spoilers. It's been it's been 7 years,
I mean, the
and
commercial had a spoiler in it, so I don't think it's really a spoiler. That they advertise it.
you'd be surprised. Anyway, like three initial missions, and then after that, the assassination of all the barons are technically considered not missions; they're considered adventures,
Yeah.
and so that's the reason why I don't think a Forsaken could come back, because they would need to change how the adventures work, and just make it so that instead of you choosing which one to go after, you have to essentially go in a specific order. Like go after the rider first, then the gunman, then
Yeah.
this, that, and then the other.
That
And
could work.
obviously, that could work. That could. It should always end with the machinist, because technically speaking, from lore stuff, the machinist seems to be used to be in a relationship with Fikrul the fanatic,
Hmm.
so killing his girlfriend at the very end would make him really angry.
Hmm. Well, you're right. They're gonna have to fix some stuff to get any of that back in there, but giving us that content, the new subclasses, all these things would be perfect. Bungie has is essentially all these items given to them on a platter, and they don't pick most of them. So that's where the community's at right now. Um, Now we were talking about the Twid, we were talking about the Death Stream. And you kind of gave an overview about it already. Um, the rest of the seasons already, like all these episodes, have not been doing well. Now this is going to be the last episode. They've been doing terrible. They've already moved to a new, essentially, batch of seasons for Frontier. So let's talk about the first episode. What the hell was it again?
Codename Apollo, and I forgot the name of the other.
No. The episodes we just had. What was the first
Oh,
episode? The FX one.
the first one is episode Echoes, which is kind of introduced the idea of an echo, which is basically a fragment of the witness and its power. And I guess in this case, it's a fragment of the witness stole from the Vex, because it's allowing the antagonist of Echoes. Spoiler: Maya Sundaresh,
Yeah.
aka the the real Lakshmi 2, not the Exo clone copy. Anyway, she found it inside the Vexgate network. She used it to try and find her real wife, not knowing that her real wife uh, unalived herself. YouTube reviewer
Yeah.
unalived herself during the whole veil containment stuff that nobody listened to.
Well, because nobody knew it was there.
Exactly. So she's frantically going through multiple different realities, finding her wife, finding out no, she's not the one, and and control alt deleting them.
Yep.
And that's pretty much where it is. There's some thing again. Some sort of trauma with Saint 14, realizing that he's not the Saint 14 from
For one
our
universe.
timeline.
Yeah.
From our timeline. He's the Saint 14 from a timeline where we saved him, instead of him dying to the Vex in the Infinite Forest.
Mm-hmm.
Some along the way, he found his dead body, and somehow, because of how exos are built, he managed to merge his consciousness with his dead with the dead version of him. And I guess you can call him Saint 28 at this point.
You could. You could. It's more
We
like he gave
could,
himself a pep talk.
yeah, because he basically he in an instant he experienced the life of this Saint 14,
Mm-hmm.
of our Saint 14, the dead one. So he experienced all of that in a couple seconds. So yay for him.
So,
And the tears of of PvP diehards that swear that Saint 14 is a straight man.
right. Well, it was originally, then Bungie changed it, but whatever. Um, so we went through all that. The ending ended up sucking terribly because for some reason
We
Bungie decided to make an open ending POS.
because now they can the reason why the episode another reason why the episodes are not really working is because Bungie in the beginning said that the episodes are meant to be epilogues to the Light and Darkness saga,
Mm-hmm.
and they were going to use those to tie loose ends that they couldn't tie up with the campaign of Final Shape. The problem is that they started off with the wrong foot with Echoes because they just use Echoes to set up, not tie up, a a physical face for bad Vex in the form of Lakshmi.
Yeah.
And because with the power of the Echo, she's actually transforming the Vex. The Vex themselves are a sort of hive mind group, like a Skynet, if you will. And now she's introducing individuality. The individual Vex units are now individuals, if you will. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you do one of the Echo activities, I think one of the arenas or whatever, the final boss literally after scanning the internet or whatever is the future version of the internet,
Yeah.
decided this Vex decided to call himself Tim, the Guardian Slayer, and that's when you see his name on with the boss health bar, it literally says Tim with a Y instead of an I,
Hmm.
comma Guardian Slayer. Like, did he just give himself a title as well?
Yep. I didn't see that. Well, that's crazy.
It's fucking hilarious. But but there you go. Now there's a subsection of the Vex that are going to be pushing against the rigid structure of the Vex, of whatever the end result of the Vex, what the Vex want. And that's also going to clash with the other nebulous thing with the Vex, which is Asher Mir.
Yeah. True.
So we got Maya
Asher,
Sundaresh, we
Meyer.
got Maya and normal Vex,
No.
the normal Vex. So there's going to be like a three-way dance between the three of them
Or
to
four-way,
determine.
the ones that were following the witness.
Yeah, true. That's actually true. The thought, yeah, because those ones are actually even against other Vex, even other Vex, because the ones against for the witness are worshiping, which is something that Vex don't do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's four-way dance, and that could be great for a future expansion.
Could be,
But they
but they
like
kind of
that
shot this one in the foot.
they shot themselves in the foot because they claimed these are epilogues. These are supposed to tie up loose ends, not create a new one.
Well, even with that, even past the creating a new one, it was just a terrible ending. She just fades into the goo and passes away. We never even get to fight her.
Yeah, because they're saving her for an actual fight.
Yeah, it was
Or
terrible.
no. Eh, yeah.
So then we got this one we're currently in. It was supposed to be the Vampire Hunter one,
Yeah, Revenant.
and we talked.
This one did actually have a tying up loose ends, but
I just
we
hate
have
how they
as
did
we
it.
just
I hate how they did it. Still, I remember last
they,
time I talked a lot about how much Eris pissed me, or not Aramis pissed me off, and it still stands. It still stands.
agreed, but I think it's mostly because of what I mentioned in the beginning of the older discussion and this discussion right now is that Bungie really cannot do anything with any of the other races.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't make the Vex compelling, so they needed to create Maya. So they needed to bring in Maya Sundaresh and suddenly turn her into a bad guy
Mm-hmm.
to make to just to give the Vex a face and a name to something that we can latch on to say bad guy Vex.
Yeah.
They did the same thing with the Darkness and the Witness. Darkness for the majority of the franchise has been this nebulous. Are they good? Are they bad? Are they the
Well,
reason why the collapse happened? And then out of nowhere, and budget and Megamind.
true, but I mean, I think we talked about this last time too. Technically, the darkness still wasn't witness. The witness just used the darkness, so it technically
Yeah,
wasn't. But they were calling the darkness, and him darkness too. He was strong enough that people thought they were one and the same, but they weren't. He just used the darkness. So when we talk about
true.
darkness, you could be talking about the way people were describing the witness, or you could be talking
Yes.
about the darkness itself, which is obviously neutral. It doesn't care about anything.
Yeah, the darkness and if you do enough of the Pale Heart activities and you unlocked up, I think the ship from the Pale Heart, you can read the lore tab of it is basically the darkness basically sending us another thirsty tweet at us, another thirsty DM like, "Hey, Guardian, you miss me?"
I thought that was
So,
I thought that was
yeah,
the
that's the
Winnower that did that.
the winnower is still around. Basically, the winnower is basically saying, "Hey, Guardian, how's it going? Oh yeah, you dealt with the first knife. You guys call him the witness.
Mm,
I call it the first knife. Will you see me again? I don't know. We'll see what Bungie's have to say about that
mm,
later." And we'll probably never see the a satisfying conclusion to what the winnower is. Maybe we'll see it. Maybe we won't.
you probably
Maybe
will
we'll.
at some
Maybe,
point. Well, they need another big MacGuffin again, like a bad guy bigger than the last bad guy. They'll eventually they'll put the Winnower in a body and give it us something to fight or something. I don't know. They'll pull some crap like that.
I mean, they've been. I think the reason why they try to set up the Vex as a bad guys is because that's always been the kind of the thing. Kind of always been the thing. The dark future from Curse of Osiris. That thing that no is that there in the dark future is that there is no light, there is no darkness, there's only the Vex.
Mm,
So even the witness fails in that reality. And so in that regard, yeah, they're trying to set up the Vex as the ultimate big bad now. They should have done that years ago, and every situation that they could have done something with that, they kind of shot themselves in the foot.
mm,
And going back to Revenant and Aramis, and why the reason why she feels so unsatisfying is because Aramis and her own expansion, she was sidelined almost immediately to make room for Tanix.
Tanix and Atrax.
Tanix and Atrax.
Mm,
Don't get me wrong, they could have kept Atrax as one of the bosses. Hell, they could have put Atrax as the final boss.
yeah, I still think Atrax should have been the final boss.
Or at the very least, the one leading up to the final boss, which should have been Aramis. And like in the most recent raid, you don't necessarily kill the witness. You beat them,
Mm-hmm.
and then you beat them in Excision.
Yep.
you kill them for real in the Excision mission. They could have just done that from with the Aramis, and just have Aramis do the same thing as that Tanix is doing, but instead of but implement more stasis debuffs and stuff, like have her do a bunch of Duskfield nonsense to piss us off and whatever, or just to make the fight more tie into the whole stasis abilities. Because to me, the whole Deepstone Crypt, and this is the point they wanted to push the whole stasis as this next big thing that other races would start tapping into, but we didn't see that until season of the Lost, which is the same season of the Lost, when they started introducing Scorn units that use stasis, and I think some of the Taken also started using stasis as well. Like that's way too long for them to implement new stasis units, if you will. So anyway, back to Aramis. She feels unsatisfying because they screwed up her entire character arc, and because they screwed up her entire character arc, they thought that the best way to get rid of her was to essentially give her an give her a redeeming arc that she didn't deserve.
Yeah, they screwed up her character arc, and they screwed up her ending more in her character arc because, yeah, you're right. She never learns a lesson throughout all this. I mean, the whirlwind happens. They're drifting for fucking forever. Okay, great. They attack us, even though we had nothing to do with the traveler coming to us. Attack us. She's constantly bitching and whining about the darkness. Decides to work for the witness to try to hurt the traveler, which ain't gonna help anybody. Fucking constantly, over and over again, we're beating her and thwarting the witness, showing her that, hey, maybe if you grew some balls, you might be able to fight back and, win something. The entire time being cocky as hell, forgetting the fact that we could body her at any time. And then we beat the witness, and she still hasn't learned anything, isn't thankful about anything, and never even considers that, her people could have, a legitimate home, a legitimate future. And then we beat all that. We're, like a month out, or months out from having beat the witness, and she's still acting cocky as hell like we didn't just beat the fucking witness. We beat the witness real high, but all I'm like, we beat all that shit, and you're still acting high and mighty. You haven't learned. You haven't apologized. You haven't grown as a person. Yet here you get this damn echo, and you're just gonna fucking up and leave. And even as you're leaving, still no thanks, and still acting like an asshole. Like, oh, I'll never see you again. Or I hope to never see you again. Like, bitch, we may go visit you. You don't know. Like this chick is
We're
not
gonna
grown.
see her again. When she goes in her little spirit quest to establish an actual new colony for the Elixni, the whole Echo thing. The thing will just pump her full of so much fucking light that she will actually be an actual good character now. She'll actually learn her mistakes. It's just that it's gonna take. They're just gonna put her in a pot and put her in the same pile where they put the factions, and
Yeah, no shit.
they're just gonna put her there, and then eventually when they do decide to pull her to pull her out of that box, she'll be an actual character.
It'd be good to see the factions come back now that the witness is gone. I mean, that'd be a nice one. But I think that witness
I
still going to be doing
they
something with the factions and Horizons, but or at least
uh, if they do
this
that,
one.
they're gonna have to come to the realization that they need to create enemy at the AI enemy guardians, because the reason why the whole factions grew to power is because most of them had a lot of guardians under their payroll,
Yeah.
with the typical stuff that we were grinding for, an ornament here, a sparrow here, a shader over here, gun here. That was how they got guardians to join them. It was through bribes and stuff.
Yep. I got my bribe. I got my
So
hung jury.
which one?
Uh,
They've re-released it like 5 times.
oh, the one in Destiny 1, the original one that had Firefly in it. That was a good, triple tapping Firefly, I think. So I
Yeah,
got that one before they updated it with a shitty one. And
Yeah.
yeah, so Aramis did not deserve her redemption because she did not earn it, and still never showed us any kind of respect. Cut to Heresy coming out next week. We've talked about it already, but Cut to Heresy is coming out next week, and then after that, of course, we're not going to be doing any more episodes, even technically seasons. We're not doing. We're going to be going to Frontiers, which is going to be 2 medium-sized expansions
Ex-
per year, and each one of those will be broken down into 2 different spots. So essentially, going back to 4 seasons. Which again, the seasons don't matter as whether the content is really good on it, but going back to 4 seasons between 2 expansions essentially, and
yes. And
a
those
lot of
particular
changes
and
coming in
from what
Frontiers.
yeah, and from what I can tell, reading some of the material that Bungie's posting about that, the blog posts,
Mm-hmm.
these seasons, if with big quotation marks that we can put there, are not really necessarily narrative seasons. They are more like content seasons. There's technically these seasons have a narrative reason why they're happening, but maybe there's like an intro quest line,
Mm-hmm.
and that's pretty much it. There is no maybe there's an ending quest line at the end of that particular season, and that's it. An intro, an end, and nothing, and no other narrative in between. Maybe voices in the intercom while we're fighting, while we're doing insert activity here.
Yeah. Now, real
In,
quick, I'm gonna give me just a minute here. We're at about a halfway mark. Give me just a minute to run and grab a snack real quick, and then we'll continue on. We're gonna talk about what all upcoming changes are coming in Frontiers, what we're looking forward to, what we hope to happen, and just a lot about the future. So, give me just a
all
minute.
right,
I'll be right back.
all right.
And I'm back. You there?
Yep.
All right, apologies. I had to go grab a couple more snacks. Run out of my initial set of snacks after about the first 7 minutes, so I've been starving ever since then.
No problem.
Okay, so let's talk Frontiers. So Destiny 2, or is going to be coming out with Destiny Frontiers, or that's going to be the new expansion. Um, it feels to me like Destiny 3.0, even though I know it's not, but it is going to be a good new starting point for new Guardians to come in and get a whole new story. It should still tie into what the vets have done already, but we're going to have basically a new story. Light and Darkness Saga's done. This will be a good starting time to get players to come in. However, there's so many players down right now, it's going to take a lot to get people to come back, let alone give it a try. And there are a few new features coming with Frontiers. First, though, before we even get into there, now, we talked about the TWID. Now, was there anything additional from the TWID now that we've talked about the Heresy? Was there anything else in the TWID that was relevant now, or are we just going to go into Frontiers?
Besides more stuff about the weapons and what weapons can we expect to see in the we could do a small recap of what the new aspects and buffs certain subclasses are going to be in the game. You could do
Um,
that,
we could do that real
or
quick. Actually, I got a better question, and this is a bit a good one. Um, weapon crafting. What's the deal with that? Are we gonna be crafting again? Has Bungie learned their lesson, or are we back to this RNG and hope that it's working this time?
um, yes and no with that to the weapon crafting.
Okay.
Yes, because they are going to be they're going to be doing a perk refresh to the Vault of Glass uh, weapon set. The entire everything's getting a perk refresh, and they're all going to be craftable. So
Okay.
so you'll be able to craft your perfect a new version of Fatebringer, Found Verdict, He's in Vengeance, when whatever with a new perk with some of the new perks that are coming with the heretical weapons, with some of the season of arrivals are also coming back as with newer perks.
I hated those weapons. I'll be honest with you. They look terrible to me. They look like
Eh,
blocky plastic, but that might just be me. Especially that bow.
oh, the bow. That's basically it. People hated it so much that it went full circle, and now people like it.
Yeah, it looks just like I'm trying to shoot someone with a surfboard, but okay,
Uh,
weapon refresh and crafting. Okay, so some reprise stuff sounds like we can craft it. What about the new stuff coming out as far as seasonal weapons?
oh, the seasonal weapons. From what I can tell and from what I've seen, Bungie is going to double down on on Revenant with zero craftables
Hmm.
so far. Probably the exotic that we will talk about later. The, one of the exotics is probably craftable. There's an exotic mission attached to it.
Yeah, which we probably won't get till the end of Heresy,
Yep.
so we don't even get to use it in the season that it comes out. Okay,
Or so yeah.
that's
So yeah. So outside of the Vault of Glass refresh, that's pretty much it
okay.
for craftables. They're trying something else with the a bit more deterministic than the than the uh, than the tonics.
Hopefully something easier. I don't have to keep remembering to turn on because I never remember to do that.
Yeah, they mentioned they released some sort of like a little bit of it. It's called the Tome of Want, where it basically allows you to focus which weapon do you want, and as you do activities in the if as you do seasonal activities or just regular activities in general, you gain points towards trying to get that particular to focus that a
Okay.
specific weapon or and as you go through the weeks and you start getting currencies and stuff, you start to upgrade this book because it is a tome, and you try to upgrade it so that you can get it like with double perks or with or some other things. Let me see. Let me look it up here because it's kind of like I'm a bit confused over it. All right,
Okay.
let's see. All right. On day one, you'll unlock the Tome of Want, giving you options to focus on earning specific weapons, armor, or currencies in addition to general loot drops you'll earn during gameplay.
Currencies, that worries me.
See, as you complete heresy activities, you will earn Essence of Desire to power up your tome's rituals and scriptures, which will specify the desired rewards.
Okay.
To keep you better informed of ritual progress, the tome's tooltip will display a progress bar indicating when you will earn your next specified reward.
Okay.
This lives entirely within your inventory. Will probably be that third slot next to the right next to the tonic
Tonics, yeah.
thing.
That's what I'm thinking too. So we're gonna have them
Yeah,
still.
we're gonna have it there because I don't think that we'll have another. I think Solstice is the next. Like Guardian Games and Solstice are gonna be the next seasonal activities, well, seasonal holidays, and those things don't generally have a MacGuffin attached to them. So,
No. Um.
s-
So
okay, that
go ahead.
means there's a couple more things. Yeah,
Okay.
progress is gained by defeating powerful enemies and completing activities. You'll get more progress from heresy activities, but minor gains can be earned throughout various activities throughout the game.
Okay.
As you get deeper into heresy, you'll be able to upgrade your tome with with more efficiency, increasing the number of rewards that can be earned in a single ritual, basically double drops and what have you.
Okay. That's good.
Additionally, tome engravings will be unlocked over time and augment the number of artifact perks with additional effects. These effects will activate anytime the ritual is active within the tome. Basically, some of the artifact perks will have like this is what it does, and with the boost from the tome,
Hmm.
it will grant you an additional effect.
Okay. Again, just like the tonics, how they split the abilities into you.
So yeah, so basically it's the tonic, but it's more deterministic. Play more, watch a bar go fill up, and when that thing is full, bam, you get the drop.
Okay.
Which is, I guess it technically it's a better version of the into the light focusing
Yeah, you're
because
guaranteed it.
it's guaranteed it's going to be once you get to 100%, bam, whatever you want to focus, you'll get that.
Well, okay, I take it back. Good and bad because you know when it's going to drop. It depends on how long it takes for it. Because step or into the light wasn't that bad as far as focusing. I mean, at least
I mean,
one out of every three weapons was that. So if it's worse than that, then okay, not so much. But if it's around then yeah, I prefer to know to guarantee I'm going to get a weapon.
yeah, maybe it's because of this is complete anecdotal evidence in against into the lights focusing, but whenever I focus a particular weapon, I would I would get it every now and then, but not 100%. Which is I think that's the reason why people were so deep into weapon crafting is because you 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 get X and I want to get X. I don't
Yeah.
want to get I don't want to get Y. I don't want to get A or B. I just want X to drop every single time. And Bungie still hasn't learned that lesson, even with the tonics.
Well,
Even if the tonics did work, which they didn't, the tonics never gave you exactly what you wanted. So there was no reason for you to bother with the higher end tonics because the higher end tonics said, oh, if you use if you drink this tonic while you're doing the onslaught, you're doing Tomb of the Elders, you're running the exotic mission, you will always get the grenade launcher, the hand cannon, this pulse rifle, whatever. And usually, and I've done this a couple times with a couple of onslaughts, and you will never ever get the thing that you that the ton the thing that the tonic said it was going to give you.
mm,
And Into the Light's focusing after Into the Light came and went actually got progressively worse. Right now, I have it in. If I were to go to the tower right now and go to Tavala and focus and check the focusing page, I have it set. I have it set to Blast Furnace because I completely forgot about grind. Because I did grind for Blast Furnace,
mm-hmm.
but I got a really bad. I got one that it on paper it was really good, but when I checked the stats and stuff, I realized this is not. This is gonna be really bad. This is technically worse than my sunsetted Blast Furnace.
Yep. Yeah. So.
And I tried to run it like run a couple of Into the Light onslaughts, the regular ones, and holy shit, the RNG on the RNG for regular onslaught got worse with with no shinies now.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even get I did like 2 runs of onslaught, 2 or 3 runs of onslaught, and Maybe I got 2 blast furnaces total. The rest were just weapons that I already had good rolls of.
Well,
Like I focused blast furnace. I should be getting blast furnace at the end of each wave. I should not be getting 50 recluses.
well, hopefully Bungie learned their lesson and gives back weapon crafting when Frontiers comes out, which brings us to the kind of relaunch for Destiny 2. At least the way in my mind it feels like kind of a relaunch.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I agree.
Moving to a non-linear story, which is something I liked, as long as the story beats are good. Um, the big things are that and Armor 3.0. We're going to be getting new armor. It's going to do some new things for us. So those are two big things. First, let's talk about the non-linear story. Going back to kind of, excuse me, that open world-ish feel, kind of like that Red War feel, where you kind of hopped around a bit. You still had to do things in order,
Yeah,
but you just still kind of hopped around and did adventures or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah. Kind of
You
feels like it's going
technically
to do
still.
that.
I guess you could. After after sitting on it after the last discussion we had, I still have my reservations still, but the whole at the choose your own adventure could work. It's just that Bungie hasn't really done it in an effective way since Forsaken, I guess, because after Forsaken was Shadowkeep, and Shadowkeep, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
that was the only reason no people will forgive Shadowkeep's being terrible is because it was because they were completely independent at the time.
Well,
They just finished their divorce of Activision, and they were completely independent. The entire thing was literally funded by the Eververse at the time. So that was so they were basically on their own, and that's the reason why it feels so eh.
yeah.
But but one of the biggest criticism I have against Shadowkeep is regardless of whether or not it was independent or not, they were completely independent on their own. They should have made it a bit more compelling because they had this whole seasonal thing where it ended with the pyramid with the pyramid, which we now know is Netheric's pyramid,
Yeah.
and they never did anything with it until season of Arrivals, which was the last season of Shadowkeep.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't touch it for Undying. They didn't touch it for Dawn. They didn't touch it for Tyrant or Warmind or whatever the hell. The Rasputin one, the Rasputin season.
Mm.
They didn't touch it for anything. Like we didn't go into it. We didn't get any other whispers in the in the back of our heads telling us telling us at the evil stuff like or try to corrupt us in any way. Like there was nothing there until Season of Arrivals,
Yeah.
where they basically just shut the game down and said, "Meet us in Europa."
Yep. So yeah, as long as the non-linear story beats are good, then I'm looking forward to Frontiers. Again, it's going to be a whole new story. We don't know where it's going to be at. We don't know who it's going to be with. None of that yet. So it's going to be kind of a whole new relaunch.
It's a whole new relaunch, and because of the whole Frontiers code name, I think in a previous video a long time ago, we kind of theory crafted locations, judging by some of the information that they were providing during Into the Light, which was that during during the whole aftermath of the Rogue raid, during it, fire team members explored I think the first encounter room, and they found the coordinates to Roke's home planet of Lubre.
Yeah.
So possibly Lubre is on the table.
Yeah, but
It was
Bluebird was destroyed.
no, the population was the population of Lubreans, which is what uh, Roke is. Those are gone.
I thought they
But
cracked their world open or something.
maybe I don't. I'll be honest. I haven't. My memory is a little bit fuzzy.
I remember them saying that the world was destroyed.
Uh, all I could kind of remember is that he personally saw to the extermination of his species wholesale. Like there is the only other Lubrain left on the at the in the in the general in the entirety of the universe was Rolk, and we and we took him and we basically kicked him
Yeah,
the same way that he kicked us.
sometimes.
But I have a sneaking suspicion that Bungie's gonna pull a Bungie, and oops, looks like Rolk missed a couple.
Uh-huh.
They're gonna pull that, and since they are not Rolk, they're gonna be good guys. They're gonna be the good guys, and they're going to and there's gonna be a bunch of fan art for it, and then a bunch of people are gonna be like, Bungie,
You want Rogue back.
we want Lubre Guardian, we want Elixir Guardian, we want Cabal Guardian, we want Scion Guardian. Now we want Lubre
I
Guardian.
mean, those first three make sense, though.
I mean, the first three make sense because you could theoretically make a a Warlock, Hunter, and Titan from all three of them.
Yeah.
Warlock, Scion, Titan, Cabal, Hunter, Elixir, and make it busted. So technically they can't double jump, but they can wall run. They can wall run.
Yeah.
There.
Their abilities are
They
probably manifest by their own imaginations, kind of like ours do.
yeah. I mean, yeah, that's basically the MO of of how the Guardians got separated into three classes.
Mm-hmm.
Hunters only wanted to manifest it as a physical weapon, like a spear, a gun, knives, a bow. Warlocks manifested the element itself from their bodies, like shooting lightning from their hands, shooting a nova bomb,
Yep.
so on and so forth.
Nerds, I know that.
I know, Arc Buddy.
Mm-hmm.
And Titans, they did the similar thing to Warlocks, but they only manifest it into their fists because they're punch boys and punch girls.
So we got that going.
So that's one avenue that they could do that.
Mm-hmm.
What else? They could do. We could meet up with Aramis a lot sooner than she expected us to meet up with her.
Possibly, but
I think they're gonna let
too soon. I feel like if they're gonna do something like that, they'd let it. They'd give it a couple years.
probably whatever comes after Frontiers.
Unless they do a time skip.
They could. To be perfectly honest, they. Here's another. Okay, a small tangent. Hot take. Our Guardian should have fucking died during Excision. Sorry. Either our Guardian should have died, or the whole spiel of Cade sacrificing himself to revive our ghosts. Cop out. Just a cop out. Let our Guardian retire. Let him take over as like a fucking Vanguard or something like.
Here's the
like
problem. During that was the only time my Guardian ever responded the same way I did, because I was like, hell no, I want my ghost back. And Guardian was like, yeah, he wants the ghost back. So that's the only time the Guardian said something I agree with, since he doesn't fucking talk most of the time.
Because Bungie wanted to have the mute character, but they realized that. But as a narrative plot standpoint, it is completely unsatisfying having your Guardian be a GoPro with a gun.
Yep.
I'm sorry, but this whole thing of having my character not have zero agency and have zero impact in the plot beyond I killed the big bad.
I mean, we had a personality in Destiny 1.
And we never had, and the only time that particular personality is being manifested is when we do stuff that's completely against what the Vanguard wants.
Mm-hmm.
We want revenge for Cade. We want the Traveler to stop being a wuss and bring back our ghost.
Yep. I don't want to get too far off of it because I don't want to stretch it out too much further. Um, so yeah, Frontiers could be good, could be bad. We'll see how it ends up, but it's going to be the next starting point for any new players that are coming in. And
Yeah,
then the thing that I was really, excuse me, the thing I'm excited about actually was Armor 3.0 because our armor is
yeah,
now going to be getting, we're going to be getting stats. They're going to be spread out differently. All existing armors, they're going to change the stats. They got a formula for it, but until it comes out, we really don't know how things are going to be affected. But they're changing how stats work. Stats can now go up to 200, and everything from 101 to 200, you're going to get additional effects. And we're getting Armor 3.0. Or not Armor 3.0. In Armor 3.0, we're also getting a armor bonus depending on your armor set. You're going to have set bonuses. There's going to be 2 and 4 piece bonuses. And I think I told you before, I saw some of the bonuses that they pulled out in one of their twids. And some of these are substantial, like straight up extra weapon damage for simple stuff. I mean, these look like they're going to be pretty good bonuses. And
mm,
there's so many armor sets in game. If they go back and start backdating some of these, I mean, they can get insanely creative with the perks they come out with. And they can very easily do stuff like, I talked about how you can take the raid armor and give it perks to make all the raid weapons for that raid do more damage. I mean, they can get really creative. Like Omelon weapons do more damage with Omelon armor, and then it's
yeah,
also gives you A, B, and C, D. I mean, they can get crazy creative with it. So that's going to give us another layer of build crafting, which would be great for the build crafters out there. I mean, I'm looking
yeah.
forward to it. So, um, what do you think about Armor 3.0?
I'm actually very excited for it. Because because I haven't really done anything with armor significantly with armor in years. I think this season with Revenant, I finally upgraded most of my armor to something a bit more and something a bit more skewed towards recovery and resilience, which basically, if you were to look at my warlock prior to Revenant, most of my armor was from arrivals or earlier.
Hmm.
Like nothing, not my armor hasn't changed. Didn't change for literal years. So anything that they could do to make me feel actual excitement for armor drops beyond, oh sweet, now I can do the transmog thing.
Yeah.
I can spend transmog currency to get this look. Then I'll be grateful for that.
The problem is Bungie always thought about the problem of sunsetting in the wrong way. They're worried that weapons were gonna get used too much, or the same weapons that always get used. When really it's the armor that we don't change out. We get new weapons all the time, but once you got your perfect set of artificer armor with the stats you want, we've had no reason to change out since we can just keep bringing that armor forward. So without set bonuses, significant ones, there's no reason to do it. And now we at least got a reason to regrind, not just for one armor set, but for several sets, which also brings up the question of we need more vault space. So that extra level of build crafting, tons of armor sets we can get. I mean, they already showed us like a dozen, and now, I mean, there's a lot that Armor 3.0 can bring in. It's probably the most exciting thing I can think of coming in Frontiers. But
Yeah. In that regard, yeah, I can see I do see a general excitement for it. But we need to see how it functions, how it works, and I need to see more of it beyond just uh a theory on a page. I need to see what they're cooking, if
mm-hmm.
so to speak, which they'll probably do in the coming months with the as we get closer to it, because it's gonna as we get closer, we'll probably see more blog posts, and once those blog posts come out, we can kind of like re come back to the conversation to see what's up.
Assuming there's no delays,
Uh,
we've had 2 of the last 3 expansions delayed.
yeah, probably they might delay it a bit, they did mention it's summer, but summer is such a nebulous thing. It could be in May or it could be in August.
Typically, it's the very end of whatever the time frame they give you is, so August.
Makes sense.
Mm. But as of right now, it's about where we're at with Destiny 2.
Yeah.
Um, all this, um, that's why numbers are down. I mean, that's what's going on along with the down numbers right now. I mean, we could easily be in a
That.
much better spot, but the Bungie
Mhm.
execs that were in place obviously fucked the game, and now we're all paying the price. I'm looking at like places like EA and Ubisoft, and they're about to go down the toilet. I mean, Bungie could very easily go next. It's hard to think about a game like Destiny this big, literally going under. But I could easily see the servers getting shut down. If Bungie doesn't pull their head out of their ass and start listen to its fan base.
The most thing that's gonna happen is probably at the even though people are kind of I think what's gonna probably happen is Bungie as a as a corporation as a business is dead because they'll be absorbed into the greater Sony,
Yeah.
and you'll probably see like a bunch of the devs go to Sony Santa Monica, to Guerrilla Games, to this thing, that thing, and the other stuff, and they'll just go to there, and they won't be called Bungie anymore,
Yeah.
and they'll probably give the Bungie IP, not the Bungie IP, the Destiny IP, to to another developer that they have on hand, and be like, yeah, I know that we just canceled your attempt at a live service. How about try it with this thing called Destiny,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll see a not a Destiny, not a Dest. We will finally see what people wanted, a Destiny 3, but Bungie will not be on the cover art.
Yeah.
It will just be Sony.
And the question how good it's going to be, like how carefully can you listen to the community when they say they want something?
Yeah. If it gets to that point, that nuclear option, if you will, where Frontiers happens and it bombs, it just completely like pre-orders are down, and whenever it does come out, and the ratings are down, and the player pop goes even further below than where we are right now, that's when you start seeing Sony start chopping heads.
It's hard to imagine it going down lower than it is already, but it could very
I
easily
mean,
do
but
so.
Sony finally got their shit together and finally settled on one singular CEO, and he's from Japan,
Mm.
and the Japanese the Japanese shareholders
Excuse me.
are not exactly happy that Bungie bleeds a lot of money, a lot of personnel, and a lot of money
Yeah.
because
Now,
if
they're
you
always posting
recall
record sales.
if
They're
you
never
recall
reporting
from
record sales.
from a previous conversation during Into the Light, Sony paid extra to Bungie so they can retain talent. And what happened after the ink dried?
Mm-hmm.
Layoffs. Sony is not happy with Bungie right now, so either Frontiers and Marathon do well, or we will start to see them being assimilated into the Borg that is Sony.
Yep. I don't know how I feel either way. I mean, Sony's not exactly a set of good guys themselves, but when they're starting to look
But
like the good guys, you're in a
the
bad spot.
yeah, when they start looking like the good guys, you're screwed. When they're when they're when they're looking at their financials and seeing that Bungie, sorry, uh, is bleeding money like a sieve, which is
Mm-hmm.
the main reason why Microsoft was on their ass on their all the time during the Halo days, which is why which is why Activision was always on their ass, and even gave them additional studios to help with development, you know something's wrong with upper management. And then the news came out that Pete Parsons has a $1 million car collection of classic
Yeah.
vehicles. Like, oh, so that's where my Eververse money went. It didn't went to improve the game or to add new free
You
content.
know,
It went to that guy's car collection.
I'm not against CEOs making a lot of money. You know, I get
I
it.
get
Like
I get I
if you're
same.
that high up and it's your job, the company lives and dies with you. The problem I got is that he's got so much damn money when the game and the community is so upset. People should be losing their jobs. Then that's the problem. Guy, if you are the CEO and you are making record profits every year, yeah, you deserve that money because it's very hard to do something like that. But in this case, this motherfucker should be broke at the company. Like this is the kind of thing that should be fireable. I mean, if I could be fired for being late for work, so many times in a row, you should be fired if you cost your company billions of dollars.
No, because here's the thing: Bungie is very very profitable, and that's the reason why Sony bought them. But when they started seeing the financial debt, yes, they are making a shit ton of profit, but they are bleeding just as much money as they are making. They are making the same a shit ton of money, but they're also bleeding a lot of money. How? How are you making so much money and you're also how are you making record profits, but you're also your your expenditures are just as high
I don't
for
know.
a game that needs to that needs to drop last gen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry to a certain titan by the name of DMT. You know who you are, but we need to upgrade to PS5
I honestly keep
Series
forgetting that
X.
this shit is on last gen. I've been playing it on PC.
Yeah, I know, but remember, La Final Shape is still playable on the is playable on the PS4.
Damn. And we got
What
crossplay too. That's
you didn't notice that Mr. DMT, you know who you there are a certain Titan that we know is still on fucking PlayStation 4.
no, I had no idea it was. I lost track of what PlayStation we were on, to be honest.
We're on,
Probably like
technically we're on
5
5
Pro.
Pro, but no one's gonna
No one's doing
buy it
that. Yeah, I remember
because
that. It was,
some people did it, but I'm not going to
yeah.
because if at that point I'd rather just wait for the fear mongering that people are doing right now on the internet that we are halfway through a console cycle and we're already hearing rumors of a PS6,
Yeah.
and we're still in the middle of this generation has been kind of disappointing for pretty much anybody that's not named Nintendo.
I mean, we're just hearing rumors now. They're probably just not working on it. It takes them a while to make, though, so
Yeah.
we got a while.
Oh yeah,
But
we got a while, but
either way, that's kind of where we're at with the Frontiers and where Bungie's at right now. So I don't want to get this going too much longer. We're about at the same time as last time, but
yeah,
yeah, we got a lot. We got a lot to worry about as far as the community right now. Now,
yeah.
I'm always proud the community came together and we're pissed off about the damn near 700 people. 320 gone, and I'm all happy about that. But I mean, unfortunately, that didn't change anything. So we're working with a much smaller team here. The question is, I mean, is a smaller team going to be able to handle this or not? Now, I didn't like the
Uh,
layoffs at all, but I also
yeah.
heard a lot about some of the people laid off might have been um, not necessarily needed for the team, but I also know that a lot of people were very much needed. Um, I heard a lot of
The,
like
ne-
DEI stuff was
the
necessarily getting
narrative
taken
the
out.
fact that the fact that in addition to QA, the narrative team was gutted for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, this is a rumor. This is conjecture. This is basically the equivalent of me overhearing somebody at the bar. Do not take this as gospel, but someone on Twitter a couple months ago posted like a question, like a something empty to the just to yell it out into the void, and a former narrative team dev tweeted it, and this is the question: what are the chances that the reason why the story feels so unsatisfying is because the narrative team had to work around the technical limitations of Destiny 2, and a person who was a part of the narrative team said, and no, and without really saying yes, they pretty much they said yes.
Hmm.
That's the main reason why the stories kind of feels kind of because because you have to work around the technical limitations of the Destiny engine or whatever.
Whereas a problem, there's not too many technical limitations you can't really do a story around, though. I mean,
Uh,
aside from trying to make like a crazy disco or something, I mean, look at the views you get in like freaking Garden. Fucking, you get some crazy views there. I mean, how many times have we fucking had missions where, I mean, it was just super after super and crazy effects everywhere? It would take quite a bit to really, I mean, even ignoring last gen, but I mean, even with that, it would take. I can't even think of what kind of graphical stuff you'd have to like be trying to visualize to say there's technical limitations. So I'm not sure what they would mean by that.
I think it maybe has something to do with our Guardian being a GoPro with a gun. It could be they wanted to add this super epic moment, but because of technical limitations and us still having to release the game on last gen, they couldn't really pull it off. Like, let's be honest here. There's a couple. It would have been a whole lot cooler the excision if there was a bit more if besides invincible Mithrax, invincible Keitel, and Savathun, you would see AI controlled guardians like generic created guardians fighting alongside the player controlled 12.
Yeah.
That type of limitation, and
Hmm.
maybe a sort of thing that people have been wanting since forever, which is using our ships for something more than just a loading screen.
Yeah, ship combat. Ship
Ship
combat.
combat. I and after I literally a couple hours ago before we started doing this, I was running a bunch of railjack missions on Warframe.
Hmm.
Oh God,
We can't get too far
yes.
out. We gotta wrap this up here in about 30 seconds. So,
We'll,
uh,
we'll just we'll just stop there.
yeah. So that's where we're at with Destiny 2 right now. We're gonna continue to follow this because obviously we're curious to see how Heresy does, and we're curious to see how our game does with Frontiers. But that's where we're at now. So. I'll be keeping up with it as we go forward until Frontiers, and
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna try to come up with some more build videos too. I definitely will be when Frontiers comes out because there's
Oh
already a
yeah.
ton of armor that looks like it's gonna work pretty good.
Yeah,
Um,
some of the even though we didn't really discuss it here, we could do a follow up where we discuss some of the build crafting
mhm.
and some of the artifact mods and build craft stuff. We could do that in the future, if or Venom himself can do it can do it either way. There's a lot of stuff we can talk about Volt Charge and the Void Hunter shenanigans that will happen.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for that one.
Oh yeah, they finally gave us a breakdown of the artifact, and some of the void stuff is like some of the void stuff. It will basically, I'm just waiting for Venom to read this, theory craft something for his Void Hunter, and just wait for the video, and
Hmm.
just wait for him just going completely ham, like
So
yo.
that's everything we got to look forward to. I cannot wait for this new fragment to come out. But yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
gonna do it for tonight. Hex, you got anything else?
Um. No, I'm just waiting for it. I'm just hopefully this coming upcoming Tuesday it doesn't break on release. The game's in a playable state.
Yeah, no kidding. Uh, yeah, I think I second that motion as well. as
That's basically what I'm
Let
hoping.
us be able to play the game.
Let us play the game on day one and not have to go to other games to wait for things to get better.
Yep.
Especially when you have a rate or you have a dungeon race
Hmm.
coming up. and people need to power grind like madmen.
Oh yeah. Okay, I forgot about that. But all right, thank y'all for coming by. That's gonna do it for this evening. Thank you for coming by again as always, Hex.
No problem.
We're gonna go into the stream, and then yeah, thank you. I will see you all on the next video or live stream.
Later.